Tremors is the largest and more ambitious of the two CCI wood coasters at Silverwood. This ride originally opened with standard wood track, but Rocky Mountain Construction has added a series of different track types in recent years, including some steel track. This is still a great ride, but it does change some of the dynamics, and I'll explain why in this review. In 1996, Silverwood added a Custom Coasters International or CCI wood coaster named Grizzly. This ride would later be renamed Timber Terror the following year due to some legal issues. This out and back coaster was a major win for the park. The layout ran alongside Route 95 and was highly popular. This combination led to large increases in attendance. The success of Timber Terror led Silverwood to return to CCI for another wood coaster in 1999. This would be none other than Tremors. The coaster would have the same max height as Timber Terror, but Tremors would feature a far longer and more sprawling layout, and there are two signature elements to the ride. First, this coaster features not one, not two, not three, but 4 underground tunnels. This was once a record, but it has been beaten by Holiday World's Voyage. Second, the first tunnel dives underneath the gift shop. This not only makes a great near-miss on-ride, but there's a special viewing window from within the gift shop for onlookers. In general, I really like the presentation of this coaster. It is cool seeing the coaster drop into and shoot out of the rocky tunnels. Then the speed hills jump over the pathways, and several turns and helixes are visible from the main midway. This station looks like it was damaged in an earthquake with a slanted roof, tying into the name. Then this ride is a fun size as you approach the station, warning guests not to stand up. You have this cartoon character who stood up, leading to his head being split from his body, but don't worry, the park put some band-aids on it. What I do not like about this coaster though is its capacity. If you saw my Timber Terror review, Tremors suffers from the exact same issues. Tremors has just one PTC train. That train has 6 cars. Each car is 2 rows of 2, so the ride holds a maximum of 24 riders at a time. This is very problematic on busy weekend days. That is especially true when you factor in the slow restraint checks as well. This ride is the familiar seatbelt and individual lap bar combination typically found on PTC trains. In 2019, the operators would first check the seatbelts of each rider. They would then make a second pass to check the restraints. Fortunately, the park did streamline this process in my recent visit in 2023. They now check both in the same pass. But I was faced with another issue in 2023, staffing. At many points in the day, Tremors had just one operator. I was stunned a coaster of this scale was allowed to run with just one staff member. This meant the operator had to do a lot to dispatch a train. They first had to run down the air gates to height check everyone. Then they had to check each row on both sides of the train. Then they also had to manually verify the exit gate was shut for good measure. Then they'd have to cross back over and go to the control panel to dispatch the train. Most operators were moving at a brisk pace, but this time-consuming procedure basically guaranteed the train would need to be parked in the station for 4 minutes minimum. Add in the 2.5 minute cycle time, and you're looking at less than 10 trains being sent out per hour at best. It's a popular ride too, especially because it has a low 42-inch height requirement. This means the line crawls. I have only visited Silverwood on weekends. Roughly half the queue has been full, and I've regularly had to wait 30 to 45 minutes to get on Tremors. Since the park keeps the queue line open until closing, I highly recommend hopping in line right at the end of the day. That is especially true in a day with a late close because Tremors' setting makes it a phenomenal night ride. If you want to avoid a long wait altogether, definitely rope drop this ride. But know, as with most wood coasters, it will start to speed up a bit as the day progresses, so definitely make sure to also ride again later. There are 2 things I hope the park does to increase the throughputs. First, I wish the ride could get a second train. But as with Timber Terror, I'm not sure if Silverwood has the space to add a transfer track. The brake run butts up against pathways, and the station basically goes straight into the lift hill. Second, I hope the ride can be better staffed. There were several points in the day when the ride had 2 operators. When that happened, dispatch times were cut in half and the line moved noticeably faster. When you reach the station, you are free to choose any row you'd like. I recommend trying both the front and very back. I think the front is a bit better overall, but the back is the single strongest airtime moment on the ride. With some wood coasters, you really need to avoid a wheel seat or the back of a car. You do not need to do that with Tremors. The front is extremely smooth start to finish. You may get a little shake in some rows further back, but it's not an issue at all for me. And a lot of that goes back to the track work that Rocky Mountain Construction or RMC has performed in this coaster. RMC's founder and Fred Grubb originally built Tremors back in the 1990s, but the work his team did over the past decade was not your standard wood retracking. In 2010, the far turn got Topper Track. This is the turn that's now adjacent to Stunt Pilot. Topper Track is still technically wood track, but has a far thicker strip of steel than traditional wood track. Rocky Mountain Construction no longer offers this track type, so Tremors has instead received Retrack 208 for its recent work. This track type is all steel, as it's nearly identical to their iBox track. This steel track was placed in the Big Helix for the 2021 season, then was placed in the Helix exit and subsequent Bunny Hill for the 2022 season. The switch between steel and wood makes Tremors a true hybrid coaster. I didn't even think these sections were rough after my 2019 visit, but Silverwood clearly likes the product from a smoothness and maintenance standpoint. So it will be interesting to see just how much of this ride is transformed to steel in the coming years. And I'll be following this closely because it has impacted the ride forces, and not necessarily in a good way. Once dispatched, you turn slightly left out of the station and ascend the 85-foot or 26-meter tall lift hill. There's yet another warning sign telling people not to stand up. And you also get a good view of Aftershock to the side. At the top, you have a slow 180-degree turn. This gives a nice panoramic view of the park and the surrounding mountains too. Tremors then treats riders to a 10-story plunge. This is a fantastic drop. It's a straight drop, and rows towards the back will get some solid floater airtime. Then the very back gets something truly special. About a third of the way down the drop, there's a surprise and abrupt ejector kink that forcibly launches you upwards. I love the sudden power in row 12. Then you also have the incredible visual diving underneath the gift shop into that first underground tunnel. The clearance envelope is quite tight. The pullout is a bit bumpy in wheel seats, but it's not too bad, and no other part of the coaster is nearly as shaky. You then zoom over Speed Hill. This element is excellent. Let's start with the visuals. You start in an underground tunnel. When you emerge into the daylight, you rocket over a pathway. Then you dive beneath trees into another subterranean tunnel. And the clearances are even tighter than before. If you have your hands raised, you may hit those nearby tree branches. I also like how the temperature noticeably and rapidly changes throughout the element. It is chilly whenever you go beneath ground level, so you go from cold to hot to cold in a flash. Then the airtime is wonderful too. You get lots of sustained floater airtime in any row. It is stronger towards the front, but is still decent in strength towards the back. After the second tunnel, you rise upwards. This climb provides a great pop of airtime up front. Then you enter the ride's drawn-out helix. This element changes elevation a few times, but the end result is nearly 10 straight seconds of laterals. It is one of the longest continuous stretches of laterals of any coaster. With the all-wood track, these were some of the strongest laterals of any coaster as well. I remember being bent over sideways like a rag doll. Their strength reminded me of the double helix in Holiday World's Legend, or the final helix in Knott's Berry Farm's Ghost Rider. Now these have been toned down with the steel track though. Their strength is still good, especially for a moment that's sustained, but they are no longer otherworldly, merely good. The exit from the helix has also been toned down. I'm not sure if it's the speed loss or profiling change. In 2019, I remember the following drop giving a sharp burst of ejector airtime. Now it just offers okay floater and back. Next is a bunny hill. This is another element that was converted to steel. This hill never did anything further back in the train, but it used to have good floater towards the front. Now, it just has weak floater in the front row. You still pass a fun sign saying it bridges out at least. You then rise into the far turn. Those up front get some decent floater airtime. Then the turn dips down to the ground and back up again. The front rows get okay lateral kinks in and out of the element. Meanwhile, those in back get nice sustained laterals through the entire turn. Then this element concludes with another drop. this time giving weak floater in the rear rows. This next stretch has always been the weakest of the ride. It is the one spot that disrupts the otherwise crisp pacing. It starts with a bunny hill. Most rows will not get any airtime, but you do get a tiny pop in the back. You then climb an even higher L-turn, again getting no airtime in any row. But Tremors thankfully returns to form for the finale. You turn 90 degrees to the left and plunge into another underground tunnel. You have the sweet view diving into the rocky cavern, and those in back get some airtime too. It was stronger in my 2019 rides, but my recent ride still has some weak floater at least. You then pop out of the tunnel and zip over another speed hill. Like the first, this one also goes over the midway and immediately heads into another subterranean tunnel. Again, I love those visuals. And it has nice negative Gs too. Those in front get decent sustained floater airtime. Those in back get a quick but robust pop in the second half of the element. Then you emerge from the tunnel and you climb upwards into one last turn. The entry into this element used to offer some solid airtime for all rows, but now it offers just weak floater in the front row. Then you have one last turn that dips down and up. You get some lateral kinks in and out of the element. Then you hit the brakes, and after coming to a complete stop, you slowly roll back into the station, ending the 3,158 foot or 963 meter long coaster. So what would I rate Tremors? I would give this coaster an 8 out of 10. I really enjoy this ride's layout. Between the unique visuals and mix of forces, this ride has a lot to offer. While the forces have been toned down a bit with the steel track, the ride is running very smoothly for a CCI. And there are still plenty of great moments. The sustained laterals and the helix are lovely, and there are some good airtime moments too, particularly in the speed hills and the first drop. And this is a must at night if you get the chance. Much of the layout is pitch black, especially with those tunnels. This is an above average CCI for me, and I would probably take it over a large chunk of GCIs because of its uniqueness and mix of elements. I probably would have given it an extra point before the 2021 and 2022 work, but it is still a great Woody. Actually, hybrid coaster now. I just hope if more work is done in the future that the forces don't take another step backwards. So those are my thoughts on Tremors at Silverwood. What are your thoughts about the CCI? Did you prefer it before or after the RMC track was added? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you consider subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.